It's shocking that it took so long for this movie to get to the site because it's one of my favorite movies. But hey, everybody, this week's movie is Night Killer from 1990.
Melanie back.
Riker Traskovich is the fourth victim of the hooded psychopath.
You have a daughter. You have a marriage on the rocks.
Do you know the story of Little Red Riding Hood?
Release Mrs. Beck, and if you will turn yourself in, the police guarantee you no harm.
Maybe the fact that he was not able to kill this time will calm him.
Yeah, or make him more determined to do it the next time.
And say what you will about Claudia Fragasso, but from the films he co-wrote with Rosella Drudy for Bruno Mattei, like Robo-War, Zombie 3, Rats, Nights of Terror, The Other Hell, and Shocking Dark, to the films he's either co-directed or directed himself, like Scalps, Troll 2, and Beyond Darkness. He's made some movies that you might see as inept and strange, but they're made by someone maybe who has no understanding of how human beings think, act, or speak. But maybe you can see it my way. Their works of pure genius, the fruits of a perhaps demented mind that doesn't need to be grounded by such concerns as budget, traditional storytelling, or common sense. Fragasso saw this movie as a tense psychological thriller with little to no gore, and the original cut of the film resembled his vision. However, the producers wanted more violence, so they brought in Bruno Mattei to add the gore. Those very same producers also retitled this film Non Aprite Quella Porta 3, Don't Open the Door 3, so that it appears to be the third movie in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre trilogy, or well, not trilogy, even more than that, right? But yes, we're getting into La Casa Demons territory, but in Italy, you can name a movie a sequel if you want. This is not a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in any way whatsoever. Within the first 8 minutes of this movie, we'll see nudity, aerobics dancing on stage, a director having a near meltdown of amateur acting proportions, the killer disemboweling two women, that director falling off a balcony to her death, all set to some of the most chipper synth you've ever heard. Buckle up, this movie gets even weirder from here. Back from quick credits, and we're introduced to Melanie, who's Tara Buckman. She's also in Silent Night, Deadly Night, Cannonball Run. She and Adrienne Barbeau are the two attractive drivers of the Lamborghini. She's in Joe D'Amato's Blue Angel Cafe and Never Too Young to Die. Those are the kind of credits that make you one of my favorite actresses. She's tooling around in a flimsy negligee while some dude picks up her daughter Clarissa and delivers her to another woman. Soon, we find Melanie furiously typing and smoking in a sweater that reveals one shoulder, all while she's wearing a blue scarf sitting in her house. She also has a teddy bear on her desk that the camera focuses on for a long time. This is a Claudia Fragasso directorial tick. It seems as if our heroine has two phone lines to handle all the calls she gets, which are mostly harassment from her ex-husband. One dude that calls her is so upset that he smashes a glass in his hand at a bar while bellowing,
Melanie. Melanie. Melanie!
And then what follows is one of the wildest moments I've seen in film, so imagine how much that statement covers. As Melanie seemingly gives herself a breast exam in front of the mirror while saying,
Oh, here you are, Melanie back. This is you. You have a daughter. You have a marriage on the rocks, and nothing but gray skies ahead.
But soon another phone line rings, and we hear the voice of the night killer saying,
You just made to be senseless.
Now imagine if Cobra Commander called you and wanted you to talk dirty to him. That's the Night Killer. Let's talk about the Night Killer. He has a face sort of like Freddy, but instead of attacking you in your dreams, he calls you on the phone and talks dirty. He has a clawed hand, but instead of sharp razor-like knives, he has bendy fingers. They're either super sharp or he's really strong because somehow he's able to punch people through the stomach in an insert shot that looks like the same effect every time, perhaps because it is. Melanie calls the police for advice, and trust me, these cops are as dumb as the ones in Stage Fright. Officer Gabrielle asks for her phone number, to which she replies, I have 2 lines. The cop is unfazed and says, give me both numbers. Dialogue like this is why you stick to having Claudia Fragasso and Rosella Drudy writing your script. The cops tell her to lock herself in the house and not to let anyone in, but this is an Italian horror movie, so of course the calls are coming from inside the house at the very beginning of the movie instead of at the end. The Night Killer's in the house, and gosh, is he worked up. He may not be able to haunt your dreams, but he can certainly imitate voices, so he calls the cops back as Melanie's husband and tries to attack her. He survives being shot by her. Then he whispers some sweet nothings before kidnapping her for 8 hours. Why doesn't he kill her? I don't know. His name's the Night Killer. He's not the Night Kidnapper. But anyway, we cut to a hospital where a cop and a fake Dr. Loomis named Dr. Willow are discussing the case. Melanie has seen the Night Killer's face, but she can't remember who he is. She can't even remember that she has a daughter. And now we have a reporter wearing an outfit that can best be described as an Italian cowboy a la 1990 as she interviews the next door neighbor who had a gift for Melanie's daughter, who shows off the scar that the Night Killer gave him and discusses how he and his wife have temporary custody of Clarissa. His wife then tops every bad performance you've ever seen in any Claudia Fragasso movie with a line reading that can charitably be described as vapidly morose.
Fist happy drunk. No one's seen him in God knows how long. Why, Sherman and I have practically been raising Clarissa. She's been spending a lot of time over at our house. The Lord hasn't blessed us with any children of our own.
This is also when we learn that Clarissa's dad was a cop who was kicked off the force for excessive violence. Do you remember back in high school English when a teacher may have told you that in a mystery story, there's no extraneous information, that everything could be a clue, and that we have to listen to every clue and determine how each small piece of the puzzle adds up to a solution? This teacher has never seen a Claudia Fragasso film where red herrings are thrown with the force of Major League Baseball fastballs. Also, nearly every woman in this movie wears a fur coat. So with that in mind, let's catch up to Melanie. What's she doing now that she's been kidnapped? She's out and about. She's in her convertible, and Axel, Peter Hooten, plays him. We remember he was the 1970s Doctor Strange. He's also in Slash Dreams, Orca, 2020 Texas Gladiators, Just a Damn Soldier, a ton of stuff. Anyway, he starts driving up to her in a Jeep and sexually harassing her. He follows her into a woman's bathroom where she pulls out a gun and forces him to disrobe and then flushes his clothes down the toilet. If you learn anything from this movie, you're going to learn that Peter Horton has a massive sack. There's no easy way of saying this. I'm not talking nerves of steel. I'm worried that his massive testicles are about to burst out of the purple thong he's wearing in this scene. He also says my favorite line in this movie. Someone asks him why his clothes are wet, and he said, "'Cause I just got molested in the little boy's room." There are times in my life where I laugh so hard that I lose consciousness, where I feel as if I can pierce the very fabric of reality, and I need to hold on to this plane of existence so my soul is not ready to yet go on. And one of those moments is this scene as he's chasing her in his boxers.
Hey, bud, what happened to your clothes?
I got molested in the little boy's room.
Melanie follows this moment of insanity by going to the beach, putting out a blanket, laying out booze and the biggest prescription pill bottles you've ever seen in your life, and overdosing. Axel arrives just in time, fully dressed, and takes her into the seawater, which he claims is the only cure. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he asks her, and she says, "Committing suicide." "Well, you gotta drink seawater so you can throw up all that crap you've been taking. Are you crazy?" Has Claudia Fragasso discovered the hidden secret to the opioid epidemic? Is it forcing Peter Hooten to get you in a doggy-style Heimlich maneuver while make you ingest H2O and NaCl and stirring synth plays? Keep in mind, we are 1/3 of the way through this movie, and it's already blown my mind this many times. And this is why you should watch Italian Ripoff Cinema. It's also why this episode is going to be about 20 minutes long. We cut to a dinner party now, completely unlike anything that's happened, where a drunk blonde girl is talking to a mysterious stranger. "You want me to go with you? Where?" I wasn't born yesterday. If a stranger asks for something, there's a rat in there somewhere. What my mama used to always say. But seeing as I could never stand the sight of the old lady, I'll come with you and risk the unknown. The hell with the old bee. Here's to the unknown. That's real dialogue from this movie. Melanie wakes up in a strange hotel room, more synth. We cut back to another room where there's paintings of the night killer that look like a small child did them. Our villain takes the blonde from the bar into his apartment, puts on the mask and glove, and she says, "What are you doing?"
What do you do here?
I'm really Santa Claus. And if you've been a very good girl all year, I have a big present for you.
He says, "Do you know the story of Little Red Riding Hood?" "Sure, I get it. I'm Little Red Riding Hood and you're the big bad wolf, you know? I think I'm just a little tipsy. Go on with the story." And she says, "Oh, grandmother, what big claws you have." He says, "All the better to hold you with." "What a nutcase." "Don't stop." "Okay, Granny, what a big ugly mug you have." "Well, now you're the one who stopped." "Oh, why, grandmother?" "What a big schlong you have." "I don't like this game anymore. Please take me home." And that's when the night killer murders her by repeatedly shoving her face into liquid latex. And then, of course, he punches her through the stomach. It's his signature move. He then fondles her dead body and says now they're going to make love, and he kisses her.
Now we will make love, Little Red Riding Hood. Kiss me.
Look, it's an Italian Claudia Fragasso movie. If you're offended, maybe don't ever listen to this podcast. We cut back to Melanie, and she's in her hotel room with Axel, who comes in with a fresh box at KFC and his clothes dry cleaned. How long was she out? He goes through her belongings: Valium, a syringe, a gun, barbiturates. That sounds like a Queen of the Stone Age song. Melanie then puts a gun to her own head, which Axel replies by eating fried chicken right in her face.
Fried chicken and french fries.
Saying it takes balls to kill yourself. And the only person of those around here in the right place, yours truly. And we know that. We've seen Peter Horton's scrotum already. I mean, yes, it has fabric over it, but it is monstrous. And we know who has the balls here. Axel somehow gets the gun and puts it in her mouth, telling her he's going to kill her when he says so, when she least expects it. He tells her that he's her master, and she lays down in the bed. They make a pact as he puts a switchblade against her face. He then decides to go out, leaving her locked up with all the fried chicken. Okay, where next, right? An aquarium where a doctor checks an overflow valve. The night killer shows up, chasing her through the aquarium and ripping open her blouse. She screams and runs. I've seen plenty of girls run in slasher movies, but never one run as lazy as this. She then pays by getting her stomach torn out by the night killer. But Melanie isn't doing too well. I get it, right? Like, we're jumping all around. The movie jumps around more than me, and that's saying something. Melanie's written, "I kill you, kill me" on the mirror in lipstick. Axel comes back to tie her to the bed as we get long shots of Hooten slicing up fabric against his manly chest. Then we cut to the news as a press conference is interrupted as the victim from the aquarium is loaded in the ambulance. The maniac tore her to pieces and fed her to the fish. It's enough to hurt my stomach thinking about it. Hey, look, there's Claudia Fragasso as a reporter. He hits the cop car window trying to get more of the story. Well, we're back in bed as Melanie and Axel are there as he kisses her and she has to be untied. This movie is kind of like A Nightmare on Elm Street meets 50 Shades of Grey meets The Devil's Honey. Of course they make love. Another press conference. The media wants to know, where is Melanie? Dr. Willow fills them in. He says Melanie Beck is living in a state of dissociative schizophrenia, triggered by the trauma of the experience she was forced to undergo. The poor woman went through the most traumatic ordeal that a human being can experience. The clinical examination of the patient revealed an inordinate amount of seminal fluid. The pure evil, the violence that was put upon her has unhinged her mind. What is this, the incubus? And the patient now has a very fragile grip on reality, I guess, from the seminal fluid. There's an insane theory by the doctor where he believes she gave into her 8-hour ordeal so she could survive, and now she's punishing herself. This scene reminds me of how the old men discuss how a woman should behave in the entity. The doctor claims if she goes through the same ordeal again, she'll be normal, but then the psycho will kill her. This Dr. Willow, we should bring up, is played by Lee Lively. He's only in one other movie. He's in Prince of Tides, the Barbra Streisand movie. I can't even imagine those are the two movies you're in. You're in Night Killer and Prince of Tides. Anyway, Peter Hooten's all sweaty. He's drinking. Melanie decides to put a bullet in her mirror. He spits his alcohol everywhere. No normal human being would have a spit take in this scene, but this is Claudia Fragasso. The cops find her. They're arguing with Dr. Willow. The plan to catch the night killer has gone to pieces. The police reveal they think the night killer has abducted Melanie. We cut to a Christmas tree as the next door neighbor watches the press conference. And the manager of the hotel calls to say he's just seen Melanie. And that brings the cops there. They get jumped. The next door neighbor grabs a gun, decides to go after the night killer. Who is the night killer? The neighbor's wife is going crazy. How many red herrings do we need? Melanie suddenly shows up in another fur and the largest hat ever as her kidnapper makes a taunting call to the cops, leading her to escaping. We have a multiple person chase. Melanie's running. The kidnapper's chasing her. The neighbor's trying to help as a sad saxophone plays, and the kidnapper screams, "No!" The neighbor tells Melanie to lock herself in the house while he gets help in her daughter. She watches as man calls from a payphone. It's the night killer. She screams. The phone rings again back in the house. And we get, do you want the spoiler? The night killer is the next door neighbor. His name's Sherman. He claims that his wife is right, that Melanie is a bee in heat, and Mrs. Beck is the reason why he's scarred for life. We flash back to how he tortured her in the same way that Axel is treating her. But wait, was Axel a cop? Yes. Is Axel her ex-husband? Yes. Is he doing the same torture so she can remember who the killer is? What kind of cops are these people? I have no idea. Melanie comes onto the night killer, telling him how much she missed him. She kisses him, coos in his ear, and then she finds a knife and stabs him right in the cockmeat. Axel arrives in time to jump through a glass window and fire multiple bullets into Sherman, the night killer. Melanie and Axel embrace. All is forgiven. You think there'll be another press conference? Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Beck were guinea pigs, and they had to relive this all to find the killer. And Beck isn't just getting his job back, he's getting a promotion. Now he's in bed with his wife and his daughter. So this seems like a happy ending, right? Nope. Clarissa interacts with a gift box in the slowest emotion. The little girl carrying it lovingly up the steps as we catch up to her in her room. She jumps up and down. She unwraps the gift, and it's the night killer's mask. And she says, "Do you recognize me, Miss Beck? I'm back. Just for you. Just for you," and laughing. This movie has not been supernatural. So I don't know why this is happening. It's like the Halloween 5 ending, right? Or 4 ending. But, you know, we're not going to get another night killer. But not since the end of Rat's Nights of Terror has Fragasso pulled off an ending this audacious or moronic. The night killer had to give Clarissa the gift before Axel kidnapped his own wife, knowing if they would kill him. And the Sherman, the night killer, would somehow have to teach her, or maybe his wife did, how to talk like the night killer. Or maybe the mask is possessed. Why does the night killer sometimes have claws and then a switchblade and a gun? This is why traditional movies bore me, because they make too much sense. If you're looking for narrative jumps that literally fly into orbit, if you're seeking out the unhinged, if you ever wanted to watch a movie that goes from Elm Street to Giallo to pre-7 box-related ending 5 years before that movie's released, and you watched Troll 2 and said, but what if the same people made a movie that made less sense? This is my strongest recommendation. Of course, you can get it from Severin. It's also playing on Tubi. I feel like I have to pay Severin back for putting this out. I have talked about this movie so many times, and now it's on the podcast. Now I can rest. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to reach out to me about movies, reach out to me at bnsspotmovies@gmail.com. Head to the site at bnsspotmovies.com. You can make a donation to Ko-fi there if you'd like to help out with the cost of running the show. You don't have to. It would help if you gave us a nice rating or you recommended this to your friends. I'd like more than 17 people to listen to this podcast that I put so much time into. Have a great day, night killers.